Hi everybody, how are you doing? This is sjsrana reporting from my hometown Chandigarh, 150 miles north of New Delhi. Time about 12:47 hours UTC, May 12th. So today we're going to discuss a wide range of topics from global updates on Palestine, Israel conflict, Biosecurity Act, India COVID-19 disaster. We're also going to cover how GDP of world is impacted by COVID-19, including India GDP. We're also going to discuss in length about the possibility of sexual predators population impacting COVID-19 and mutants. So first come first, we're going to discuss most important topic which is ongoing currently, apart from global affairs and weather patterns which are creating huge phenomena across the globe, weather crisis developing. Let's first come back to our original global most important topic right now. Recently, just a day before, there was huge number of rockets launched on May 12th on Israel on the intervening 9th of May 11th. And they were almost like, you can say, thousands of rockets that were launched onto Israel. And Israel witnessed almost 300 rockets in 10 seconds. It was like overwhelming the system, which was anti-missile system, which is called Israel has Iron Dome project, which basically intercepts the missiles inbound to Israel, and that was also overwhelmed because of so much of missiles launched by Hamas group from Palestine in revolution or in revolt towards the mosque which was common in Jerusalem, and that was being the center point here. However, this escalation has been quite phenomenal because it just happened overnight. You can see this clip we are playing from Rapli. It's a raw clip, but you can see the massive of missiles being launched, rockets being launched at Israel. And this was also post the airstrike which Israel had on Palestine locations where they had decimated one big plaza building. Overall, this has been so big an event overnight that almost 45 lives were lost of Palestine, and 5 soldiers or 5 Israel personnel were also lost in this conflict. This was because of this huge amount of rockets being propelled each other. It's looking like a space war. Can you look at it, folks? This doesn't seem to be something which is normal. This is like, you can say, World War III starting, sort of what it appears to be. This is all like space wars. These missiles are getting intercepted by Israel Iron Dome project, and you can see this is massive number of rockets. Still few rockets made into Israel, which they claim they decimated many areas. However, the lives were not lost to that extent, and synagogue was also damaged in this rocket attack. So this situation which has escalated such a big time, which was unexpected, is supposed to have global impact, because now both sides, Israel and Palestinians Freedom Liberation, has pledged and vowed that they're going to take the revolt. This is a scuffle you are witnessing at New York. There was a protest going on across US, and this is a scuffle there. This just seems to be going global, because there are going to be now big uh, escalation both of the sides unless there's a peace talk, and this seems to be something which is going to go beyond. This is happening in New York, and you can see how it's going to impact globally now. And basically, Turkey has also stepped in and has asked that it is not going to take it easy. In Pakistan, Prime Minister Imran Khan and people of Pakistan in Karachi also protested, and wide protest all across the Arab world has stirred this new conflict into a major escalation. Basically, Israel versus Palestine, but it seems like Arab world is going to get united on this form now, and you can see this is going to take another shape.
If you touch Al-Aqsa, we will wreak havoc. We'll افتح ابواب جهنم. يا ابن حيوان. You attack Al-Aqsa, we'll do World War III so we can liberate it from you. If you want peace, leave Al-Aqsa alone. Leave Al-Aqsa alone. Leave Gaza alone. Leave the West Bank alone. Leave the Palestinians alone. Leave the Middle East alone. Because if you don't leave it alone, and Palestine will be liberated, just like Salah ad-Din liberated from the Crusaders.
Especially because I'm Jewish. It's not just because I'm human. I stand up and condemn all what Israel is doing, not just now, but doing already for decades. It's because I'm Jewish. I condemn all what's being done supposedly in my name and supposedly in the name of my religion. The Jewish religion is being misused, sadly and embarrassingly, to justify all these crimes that are being committed against the Palestinian people.
So is peace possible now? That's the question which everyone is asking. Let's quickly jump to India, where there was smuggling of 7 kg of natural uranium recently discovered, which has also hit headlines. How come 7 kg of uranium is available in India? And NI has taken this serious issue where they discovered people having 7 kg of uranium. Anyways, let's quick jump to India COVID-19 disaster, which has already crossed 23 million, and deaths are above 250k now. Yes, fatalities are 250k. So 23 million Indian population getting coronavirus infection, which also seems to be underreported, because many of the claims from experts have claimed that this is the figure. The real figure is 2 or 3 times at least more than what's being reported. So you can see 23 million infections, total deaths graph, which is also going straight up, and active cases are also shooting up. There seems to be no respite in India coronavirus disaster. COVID-19 has been big issue. If you combine all the nations together, if you see their numbers for daily reporting, India is way higher. Even on May 12th reporting, total deaths were beyond 4,000. So 4,200 fatalities were reported for May 12th reporting, and about 350k cases. So total number is way beyond comprehension. You can see rest other nations fall apart. So even India government has included ex-medics or army medics, people who have served the army, India army, have also been recruited back into active duty for at least COVID-19 combat situation. However, this is not coming down. The 400 medical officers were expected to serve now for a contract for maximum of 12, 11 months. Still, this doesn't seems to be coming down as the cases are keep ramping up. India hospital beds, hospital ratios going faltering. And there's another problem growing, or you can say another issue brewing, is basically the mutants, which is also now popularly known as India mutant B.1.617. This B.1.617 has been picked up by WHO as a big concern because right now this India mutant virus B.1.617 has propagated to at least 44 nations. Yes, folks, it is propagated to 44 nations. It's a big concern, and WHO is worried. That's the reason why Australia was quite proactive in completely banning India travel, and the case was even turned down by the jury against the ban in Australia federal court. So this is the reason why Biosecurity Act is so important. Another problem coming up with this India mutants is black fungus, also known as mucormycosis. That mucormycosis is basically black fungus. It's another aspect of COVID-19 recovery where people get infected with some sort of black fungus, or you can say a mold. It gets developed on the face and it disfigures the face. Almost 400, 500 cases from one state itself, like Gujarat was reported earlier, but now it's spreading across, and it's becoming a big concern because it's adding to this deadly infection of COVID-19. Already India is suffering big time losses. The whole lockdown situation is ongoing right now because it's sporadic everywhere. Many of the states are participating in almost full lockdown till last week of May. So we hope to see situation by, you can say, 23rd, 25th of May. But folks, if you ask me, I don't see any respite. I see the cases are going to escalate, and there is another reason why this has gone such a big, which I'm going to tell you later on why things have gone out of hand. But this is Biosecurity Act, I think, which is being considered by most of the nation, including US. Australia has implemented it and banned India, and many other nations are considering why it's so important to have a Biosecurity Act. UNSC must take a position about this, pathogens war which is going on, and this controversial India travel ban has all pros now in favor of Australia, whereas people who were debating against it must be now searching for some respite, because this is the real fact, folks. There is no way you can avoid a virus unless you have vaccination or you have some remedy. And this is an article on Curious, and this is a very elaborate article, and it goes all in favor of having a Biosecurity Act. So I guess world has to take a position, UNSC especially, because it's security for the whole world. As more and more nations getting infected with India variant or the India mutant virus B.1.617, another one is B.1.618, also known as triple mutant. All these variants are just introduction from India, because since it's escalating, the matter is not settled anywhere. I think more mutants and variants will be discovered by world, WHO and CDC, US CDC, So these things are going to cause big problems in GDP. It's going to cause big problems nationwide, and it's quite important for rest of the nations to take proactive actions. Another problem which I mentioned why things have gone out of hand is there's a problem of dumping of bodies, COVID-19 infected bodies onto the rivers of India. Yes, recently this news surfaced 2-3 days back. It has escalated, it has gone viral, and even WHO is concerned if these corpses of COVID-19 infected bodies, victims are turning up in shores of rivers, then this is just like hell opening loose. It's like inviting pathogens to mutate, more virus to get variants, and this is what exactly one must be stopping if we are to control this pandemic for the world. So the whole nations have to take a look because this is going to impact GDP for the whole world. Already India markets have started showing the signs of coming down, because earlier they were just ramping up the numbers, but now at least 2-3% they have come down because they are understanding the gravity of the situation. Only recently, 2-3 days back, they've understood that there is no way, they have to be 10-20% correction. Now, UK has been able to overcome this COVID-19 second and third wave, controlled it, contain it. So it's having some sort of good positive impact in GDP. But India's situation looks very grim, and I don't see scope, at least for 2-3 months down the line, for India markets to even turn positive at any moment. I think there should be 10% correction to 20% correction. This is what I've told last in my few updates, which have been on May 7th. Even on April, I've mentioned it, that India GDP is not more than 9%. Folks, 8% at the most, which is what I predicted. Earlier, India has been forecasting GDP beyond 11%. Starting 2022, FY 2022, they predicted somewhere 12+%, but then they came down to 11%, then 10.5, 10.5 sort of. But now recent figures will shock you, and this is in line with my prediction that India GDP is not more than 8%, folks. Remember, because I've seen all the graphs, I've seen their ratios, the bonds, how they are behaving. Even I've seen how the investors are basically taking the funds out of India. You can see there's a biggest drop in for investors in India. You can see the drop is quite considerable, and one of the biggest exit for the whole year. So now, recently, India mentioned, it's on the G News, and this mentioned it's got 7.5% FY21 outlook. So it's very fragile, and the UN is also predicting same. And this has been recent update now for today, May 12th. And as I have predicted, that this is not to go good with India GDP. However, the UK economy is growing at 2.1%. from March in previous months, and they say they are going to be doing better because at least UK has contained COVID-19. However, India is another ball game altogether. So we're going to play a clip now. Another disturbing news is regarding how the human trafficking empire is progressing across the globe.
The National City hotspot is leaving some worried tonight.
Police say they arrested more than 24 men there back in February, and sting operations continue. News 8's LaMonica Peters spoke to the city's mayor and advocates and discovered what is being done about this issue.
A young woman was stabbed and set on fire at the Roadway Inn back in December. Police made an arrest and she survived, but advocates say the crime and the sex trafficking in this area isn't going away. Marissa Ugarte says she's been helping young women escape the cycle of prostitution and human trafficking for decades. She founded the Bilateral Safety Corridor Coalition, working closely with National City Police. She says the most important factor in this fight is pretty obvious.
The biggest issue, if you allow me to say it, is not the hotel, it's the demand. Because they are the ones that are purchasing the hotel. They are the ones that are purchasing the girl.
National City Police are a part of the Human Trafficking Task Force monitored by the State Department of Justice. The task force says they arrested 31 men back in February for solicitation. National City's mayor also says the city started redeveloping Roosevelt Street to help improve the area.
We are narrowing the street, so the traffic also is slower. We have on one full size, we have more landscaping, more walkability, so people within that neighborhood can actually walk in their neighborhood.
So Solis says the project should be complete in the next 6 to 9 months. She also says big rig trucks are no longer allowed to park along Roosevelt, inadvertently creating a cover for criminal activity. Ugarte says in the meantime, she remains focused on helping the young girls and women.
Most of them have fear of what can happen to them or their families, or or they do not know what dedication and what is it that we can provide for them.
The mayor says that the city, advocates, and the police will have to continue working together to rid this area of sex trafficking.
Human trafficking minor girls and females in India remains to be one of the biggest problems. And this has been highlighted again and again in my post. However, every day we are finding different news clicks, news hitting the headlines. Even recently, you can see, there are minor girls getting involved, and how easily the sexual predators population of India or human trafficking empire agents are able to threaten minor girls. They can barge into a house, they can kidnap the girls openly in India. Women's body are found here and there. This is such a big problem in India that shadow government is thriving on such activities. Recently, there was a victim, minor girl, who became major now, but at that time, minor girl reported that was forcibly abducted by the sexual predators, and later on they got released from the bail. Once they got out of the bail, those gang rape males, these predators, came back and visited the hometown of the girl, where they started beating the father and the brother, the relatives, basically resisting not to compromise on the matter. So you can imagine the amount of apathy India government is facing and is seeing by people, that they are not trying to control the sexual predators population which are exploding in India right now. And what they do is they force compromise with the survivors. And this is something that has gone viral. People across the nation are suffering, females are suffering. And India government apathy is they turn blind eye. Even females don't mass protest. That's another problem in India. There are more than 666 million females. Now, if this incident, such a rare incident and such a hot incident, where are the protests? There are no protests. Females are being brutally murdered every day. They're slaughtered like sheep in India. And it's all human trafficking empire, shadow government of India. Yeah, the shadow government is working behind the scene, who is just basically subsiding these news, and there are no protests ever seen in India. So this is something which is quite phenomenal, how sexual predators are proliferating across the globe from India. Recently there was an India origin man who has done some horrendous act with his own mother. Yes, he not only assaulted her, but also sexually assaulted the mother. It's an Indian origin man. It's hitting the headlines now. It was reported on May 11th. So folks, the situation is very, very grim for the world, because the sexual predators are let loose open. India government doesn't or never releases the pedophile sex offenders database for public safety. There is no online database where anybody could go and see whether the area is safe or not. So these sexual predators are let loose. Sooner or later they get out of the court by a bail, some bail conditions, and then they go and threaten the victims, the survivor, to compromise. This is alarming situation in India. Every 15 minutes, India's sexual predators are sexually assaulting a female or minor girl. This is very conservative number, because it's been reported from NCRB, which is National Crime Record Bureau, New Delhi. And these stats don't reflect the actual number. The situation is such grim that, every state, every city is having human trafficking girls being supplied to doorsteps to the sexual predators population of India. And they are very affluent people also, because they have very high connection with officials. So this whole crime of human trafficking is thriving in India. It's like, you can say, it's adding to a lifeline to GDP from shadow government to India government. So anyways, folks, the reason behind all such things are being discussed worldwide, and experts now come to a conclusion that there is a reason why porn industry or the porns available on the net and easy accessibility to the alpha males or the males, especially the India males, is exploding, and they are basically learning all these activities and all getting aggression of sexual assault, aggravated assaults on females, and trapping and slaving, stalking, is all because they're watching huge number of explicit movies online. So if you see, this recent article has covered whole details why this industry is thriving, and India traffic on porn internet sites is massive, massive. They contribute almost like more than half of the globe's hits. So this is very big concern, and this is the reason why India is not able to come out of this sexual predator population, which is thriving every day and then growing by numbers. So for be taken care now, I take your leave, and I hope some of the topics covered here are going to make some good sense to the world global situation. And we are also going to come back on COVID-19 situation later in my later posts. So for now, I leave you here with this topic, and I hope to see you in the next session, where we're going to discuss further more topics which are going to be discussed at various forms.